Good afternoon. I'm Emily Hawley. I am the Director of Trend and Design for MSI, and today we're going to talk about design trends and really the top 5 color trends we're seeing across North America. Let's see if this will work. Here we go. Okay, so when we look at trends, because we work in the hard surface industry, we have to be really careful about what we pick. We're designing products that are very permanent, right? They're going to live in a home for a long time. So we don't really want to do anything that's overly trendy, going to be in and out and not last for a long time. So this is the top 5 trends that we're seeing. We like to name them. It just kind of makes it fun to attach a name to the trend. The first one is global spice. It's definitely coming in from Mediterranean, a global villa-inspired look and feel. Verdant storm is the next trend. I'm going to go through each of these and tell you a little bit about them. Verdant storm is all about this green and blue movement we're seeing, definitely happening in paint, but moving into tile as well. More than mod, it's a modern twist on black and white, the black and white trend that's been so popular. The golden hour, I know you all have heard about this warming movement. We're seeing it in a big way. And then forever outdoors. I want to talk about the outdoor space because I think people design their indoor space and their outdoor space all as one. And I think oftentimes as folks that work on the interior space forget about the outdoors, and it's important that we remember that as well. Okay, so as we move into global spice, it's really a spicy palette. It's all about these really beautiful blushes and terracottas, chocolate brown, rich earthy tones, very villa-inspired. You know, think about archways and breezeways and beautiful limestone looks. Very, very natural and really very beautiful. You can see here some examples of how that can come to life. So think about, we're seeing arches being incorporated back into homes and in windows. I love the vanity over there on the top right, where you can kind of see the curved details on the front of the cabinet door. We're even seeing islands now with a curved, top, the countertop being fabricated in a curved edge. So lots of curvilinear shapes. Really beautiful, warm tones. I love the kitchen on the left there with the creamy cabinet on the bottom and the chocolate brown on the top. Bricks play into this. Just a really beautiful, earthy palette that people are really loving. And then as we get into hard surfaces, I always like to talk about materials that bring these products to life, right? I mean, if you play in paint and cabinets and textiles, that's great. But us on the hard surface side, we need to have materials that will really help bring these trends to life that people are loving. So products like bricks, I'm sure you guys are seeing brick in a big way at this show. Wood tones, I mean, I cannot say enough about wood looks, whether it's a wood beam accent, a beautiful farmhouse table, wood floors in every shade. It's just like wood is having a moment right now. And whether it's literal wood floors or even a porcelain tile in a wood effect. Fun Moroccan shapes are being incorporated in decorative places like textiles, rugs, and tile. Beautiful rusty and terracotta hued subway tiles. We're seeing beige and really beautiful limestone looks. And of course, a pop of white is still going to be there in the kitchen. People really do love that white top. But maybe the veining has gray and gold. It's just not that white and gray that we've been seeing for so long. Okay, and as we move into more of a modern feel, I don't know about where all of you live, but I know the part of the country I'm in, we're seeing a ton of homes being painted white with that black iron door or the iron windows. I mean, it's white and black, everything. And I know you might say, okay, white and black, that's kind of old school and not really new, but what we're seeing is really it being pumped up and almost more casual by incorporating blonde tones with that. Really, really warm hues. The black and white is stylish, but the blonde is kind of casual. And so you'll see here a great way of how people are mixing in these black and white prints. Whether it's a geometric print that you get from encaustics. Maybe it's a penny round that's in a black and white, a fun patterned rug, or a textile. Black and white is really kind of style neutral, right? It can shift very modern or shift very traditional. The bottom right image is a great way to see how that blonde tone is just warming up the black and white and making it not so cold and modern. I love the kitchen there where you're seeing those blonde cabinets and the black island. Just a lot of fun with black and white. People love it. It's just a classic. And you can do it in a very affordable way by maybe just using a white subway tile and a black grout. Or you can, take it all the way and do a really amazing, beautiful black quartz countertop and, really take it high end. So it's very good from both price points when it comes to design and, even the black matte hardware and faucets. Everyone I talk to is like, I can't get enough of the black matte hardware. So that's definitely trending as well. Okay, so if we start talking about the hard surface products that are trending, this is a great way to bring that to life. Again, they're very permanent, so you want to be really careful about the way you incorporate them. So things like blonde and washed wood tones are great. These limestone looks and these really soft beige tones. White and gray marble definitely belongs in this trend. Maybe you get a pop of black with your black cabinets. Maybe it's a black subway tile or a black stacked stone. Had to throw the brick in there as well because we're seeing a lot of painted brick, whether it's the home being painted on the exterior or even just the backsplash. So definitely important. And of course, these geometric prints can come alive through tile and mosaics and textiles. All right, next up is Verdant Storm. I was really studying and watching trends. I've done it for a long time. And in 2022, there were 7 paint companies, the big guys, who all agreed that a shade of green was their color of the year. Various shades of green, of course, but I have never, in my time studying design and forecasting trends, seen 7 paint companies on the same page, right? They're always a little bit different, or some will shift this way or that way. So we know green is here. I think the interesting thing about it was navy kind of led the way with that hail navy color everyone had to have on their island. And the blues and greens have kind of come together. So they've merged together, very complicated. Very different hues, though. So let's take a look here. I think the most interesting thing about these shades is you can't quite put your finger on the shade, right? Or even the name of the color. I tend to call them chameleon colors. They're very shifty. Like if you put it in this room, it swings cool. If you put it on another room, it swings warm. So they're very shifty. Anything from emerald hues to sage greens, army greens, navies. It's just story of green. So you can see here, I love the exterior of that home painted in that rich navy, set in the lush greenery. Of course, nature plays a role in this. We're seeing navy and accents from wall paint to sofas and all the furnishings. The beautiful quartzite in the top right, you can see there, that's that great inky navy with a hint of undertones of green. Just really beautiful and sophisticated. And I love seeing the way tile companies are bringing this to life, in their own way. Maybe it's a white marble look that has a hint of navy vein or a little bit of a nod to green, just to acknowledge that we know that's a trend, right? We're not going to have green tile everywhere in the house, and I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying, as a tile and a hard surface designer, we need to acknowledge that trend and make sure we have products to fit into that trend. So here's some examples of how you can bring Verdant Storm to life. Whether it's a really beautiful light gray wood floor that would trend and fit really beautifully into these homes with a lot of green shades. You can see the cabinet colors up there in the top right people are gravitating to. Marble looks. Again, you can see that hint of navy up in the top right marble look. Beautiful shades of glass and subway tiles in these greens. I know you guys have seen them at the show. They're everywhere. And really, really beautiful. We've even just worked on even a quartz color with just a hint of navy vein. So that's a great way to give acknowledgement and kind of give a nod to the trend without, diving in head first and saying you need a countertop. Uh-oh. All right. The next trend is the golden hour. This is all about the warming trend. Everything is shifting warm. Of course, we still, let's see. The warming trend is really, really important. We first noticed this trend when we jumped into the LVT business. We introduced several shades of blonde wood, and we were okay, this is really, really taking off very quickly. And we didn't have anything else in blonde. We didn't have countertops in that palette. We didn't have mosaics in that palette. So we really have been scurrying to try to introduce more products that are warm. A great example is, I always follow some of the largest furniture retailers just to see what they're doing. Recently, the Restoration Hardware catalog, who used to live in gray and white and driftwood, that big, huge catalog they have, it is now warm. I mean, it is all warm. The bedding that you see there in the middle is just straight out of their catalog. Just to give you an example of how layering these blonde and ecru, chocolate browns, kind of those mousy, really pretty taupey colors, how beautiful they can be when you layer them together, and can be really interesting. It's not boring. Beige is not boring anymore. People are really loving those shades. You can see the cabinetry swinging back into these wood tones that are really pretty. Brushed brass is definitely still around. Countertops with white and gold veining is very important. Just a really, almost like a warm hug. I mean, people are really loving this warming trend, and it feels new and fresh to some of the people that have been seeing that gray and white cool palette for so long. They're just like, come on in. It's warm, it's comfortable, but it's really interesting too, and really, really beautiful. So some of the products that we're seeing that can help illustrate this trend, of course, I mentioned, the white and gold veining. This is really, really pretty. People love Calicut marbles. We know that. But it's something that pairs really well with wood tone cabinets. Let's say someone wants to renovate their kitchen but doesn't want to gut the whole kitchen. They might have an older, honey-colored cabinet. Well, all of a sudden now these white and gold tops really look beautiful with them. You can see an example of the blonde floors we're seeing. Of course, rich brown mid-tones are still trending. Real marbles that are white and gold are really important to people. I love the example of that kind of angular mosaic there. It's got the gold inlay, literal, brushed gold. Definitely trending. People are loving gold accents any way they can get them, whether it's through the hardware of a tile, maybe a light fixture, just really, really pretty. I threw the warm pebbles in there. I thought that kind of calmed it down and made it feel really beautiful. But, definitely warming trend. Don't forget it if you haven't been working with it. People are really loving it. I also think that it's maybe attributes to the baby boomer that was kind of like, I'm not going gray and white. Like, I have all these antiques in my home. Forget it. Like, I'm not, that might be trending, but I'm going to stay in this warm palette because it makes me feel good. So they love it. And then I think the newer millennial is like, this is brand new. Look, I'm going to go all boho chic and have my warm pampas grass and felt hat, and they love it. So, okay, the fifth trend is forever outdoors. I really wanted to talk about this today. I think people get stuck inside, and we think so much about the indoor space. Sometimes we talk to retailers and they're like scared to death because there's an installation piece that they think they have to hold on to. And I get that. You want to service, the whole job. But if you're not comfortable with the installation side of it, that's fine. but you can still talk to your customer about designing their outdoor space, about incorporating pavers or maybe that pebble pathway or creating that really cool accent wall with stacked stone. Maybe you can tell them about a tile that has a coordinating paver so that they can have that whole seamless flow from indoors to outdoors. I think we're doing people a disservice if we forget about that space. So, and you can have fun outside. I mean, you really can design and do some very trendy, very interesting things with pattern, whether you do an encaustic outside. I've recently seen some encaustics installed in pools. I mean, what a fun way to get pattern outdoors. I love the image right there with the fireplace. I don't know if you can tell, but the liner of the pool is a little penny round. I mean, what a fun way to do something different. I love that. People are really wanting to entertain outdoors. I think the whole pandemic has made people realize the value of their homes. Their outdoor spaces became a sanctuary, and they might have said, oh, I don't really have a sanctuary. I really want one. So whether you have a balcony that you just want to spruce up or a gigantic backyard that you want to do, turf and pavers or have that seamless flow, there's so much opportunity to create beautiful spaces outdoors. So don't forget the outdoors. Of course, there are a lot of products that work really well outdoors. I'm sure you all have seen the porcelain pavers here at the show. You can have a natural stone paver. You can have a porcelain paver. The designs are amazing, what we're seeing. We actually are doing really well with a white Carrara-looking paver. I mean, who would have thought that Carrara indoors would work really well outdoors? People are loving that. Things like stacked stone. You could have a really beautiful stacked stone fireplace in your family room and then transition outdoors and have that grill island wrapped with the same stacked stone. There's a lot of coordination that can happen by using materials that are appropriate for indoors and outdoors. Another reason why we need to remember the outdoor space is that a lot of homes now have bigger sliding doors. They have windows floor to ceiling. Maybe they have those traversing doors. You can really see outside now from the inside of a home. You can physically see, what's going on indoors and out. So having those things talk to each other, coordinate with each other, it's important. And I don't think everyone does a good job of helping people transition, indoor and outdoor from the design. Again, things like bricks are great as accent walls. You could have a patio pavers done in brick or porcelain. Of course, great granite looks beautiful on tops outside. Pebbles. There are tons of products really to design the outdoor space and make it beautiful and fun and interesting outdoors and make you never want to leave and have your little staycation at home. All right, so that is really the 5 major design trends that we're seeing. Of course, there's lots of trends going on at this show, and I've had a lot of fun walking around and seeing what other people are doing, what they're designing, I think trends are really fun, but you have to be really smart with the way you use them. You may jump on a color trend with paint and textiles and let the permanent surfaces like tile and countertops just kind of give a nod to the trend. I think that's important for people that really want to incorporate a trend but don't want to be tearing it out in a few years because it's all of a sudden become tired. So I would say in the space we work in, from the permanency of these materials, you have to be really smart with the way you use them and how you incorporate them. So that's the top 5 that we're seeing. I wanted to see, did you guys have any questions? Are you seeing any of these things out in the show? How's it going out there? Good? Good. Any questions? No? Y'all are going to be quiet today? Okay, well, thank you so much for attending. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. Thank you.